which is going to be U.S. crypto market structure bill unveiled by House lawmakers. As a successor to the so-called FIT21 bill in the last session, the committee chairs in the House have released a discussion draft of a market bill structure. Crypto's big show in the U.S. Congress has been unveiled in the form of a discussion draft of legislation that would establish for the first time a comprehensive domestic regime for regulating digital assets. The House Financial Services Committee and House Agricultural Committee, both sharing responsibility for the jurisdiction hoping assets, released a working draft of a bill on Monday that Representative French Hill, chairman of the Financial Services Panel, said can deliver, quote, much needed regulatory clarity. Today marks the first step in advancing a comprehensive framework that protects consumers, fosters innovation, and closes regulatory gaps in oversight, said Representative Glenn Thompson, chairman on the Agricultural Committee, which has oversight of the Commodity Futures Trading Commission that will likely have a major role in crypto oversight. Quote, it will give digital asset developers and users the certainty they need and have asked for. On Tuesday, the Digital Assets Subcommittee of both House committees are set to hold a joint hearing on the future of digital assets where the discussion draft will be under the spotlight. So that'll be tomorrow. The draft details the public disclosures that crypto projects will be required to make. It also provides for digital assets developers to raise capital under the Securities and Exchange Commission's watch or to register with the CFTC to handle the trading of digital commodities. Of course, I don't think we've gotten regulatory clarity yet on proof of stake cryptocurrencies as well as tokens. And I think that will determine, what's going to slot in as a security versus a commodity. And we've talked about this plenty previously, but just so you guys understand, if it's going to be a commodity, it'll fall under the CFTC, at least from everything we've read previously. And if it is considered a security, obviously the SEC will take control over regulatory concerns surrounding that. Now, we are aware that proof of work cryptocurrencies will be considered commodities, at least by and large. I think there might be some outliers and there may be, of course, down the line, but as it sits right now, you can expect things like Bitcoin for sure to be considered a commodity, which will be obviously really good for a majority of Bitcoin miners in general. I think this was good news. We're still waiting on what's going to happen with tokens and proof of stake cryptocurrencies as far as I'm aware right now. If you guys have seen any new news on that, be sure to send it over to me on X at Son of a Tech. The draft details the public disclosures that crypto projects will be required to make. We covered that. The bill is meant to finally establish clear lines between the jurisdictions of the two U.S. markets regulators, a question that has been the thorn in the side of U.S. crypto businesses. This proposed format for the long-awaited crypto legislation, built on a similar first effort called the Financial Innovation and Technology for the 21st Century Act, FIT21 for short, that advanced through the House last year, emerges as the industry's allies in Congress have been working urgently on a separate legislative effort to regulate stablecoins. The stablecoin and market structure bills represent the primary lobbying effort for crypto in the U.S., though advocates are fighting the headwinds of President Donald Trump's own crypto business interests that have drawn Democratic criticism. Of course, Trump token, Melania token, that's what they're referencing here. I would assume those fall under securities to a certain extent, but we'll have to wait and see how that regulation, plays out. There's been, obviously a lot of accusations thrown at, the Trump Foundation or the Trump team in general of profiting off of those tokens. Obviously, it had a huge dip in price shortly after the launch. There is some, evidence, I believe, that essentially some team members did profit off of that. Not looking good. I mean, if we take a step back and we look at where we want to see crypto go in the future, you want, supportive participants of cryptocurrency within the government. It does appear that, as far as presidencies go, that the Trump administration is favorable to crypto, but due to some of the, macroeconomic decisions that have been made by the administration as well, it's been extremely difficult for cryptocurrency mining in particular. And there has unfortunately been a lot of stolen attention from the Bitcoin market, from proof of work cryptocurrencies over to, of course, the meme coins and the meme tokens. And unfortunately, I don't think that's the best direction to take. And a part of that, admittedly, is the Trump administration's participation within Solana meme tokens at the end of the day. And I don't think that had either one of those tokens had an overall net positive impact on cryptocurrency. In fact, I think it obviously had the exact opposite of that. And so while the administration may be friendly to cryptocurrency in general, the actions specifically surrounding meme tokens, my personal opinion is that it had a net negative effect on the perception of cryptocurrency as a whole. So the Trump administration's, outside the Trump Foundation's participation within cryptocurrency has had a negative impact from a perception perspective. I guess we're kind of being redundant there, but you get what I'm saying. And even though the administration appears to be friendly on the face towards cryptocurrency in general. 3 of the leading crypto lobbying organizations issued a joint statement on Monday urging the Senate to get on with the debate for its version of the stablecoin bill. The guiding and establishing national innovation for U.S. stablecoins, the Genius Act, the leaders of the Blockchain Association Crypto Council for Innovation and Digital Chamber asked for Senate support to, quote, move us one step closer to enacting a bipartisan stablecoin framework. Unfortunately, I'm not so sure that there's any such thing as bipartisan anymore these days. And just by the nature of, the Republicans being friendly towards cryptocurrency might actually be a detriment as far as the overall perception of cryptocurrency in general, just because, unfortunately, it's hard, I think, these days for people to separate party from issues. And it's quite clear that the Trump administration is favorable towards crypto. Therefore, if you're a Democrat, you may be unfavorable towards crypto just out of basically partisan rules and party lines, which is kind of a scary thing that's happening across all of the world and politics and the issues that are at hand. Unfortunately, we don't seem to have as many critical thinkers that will cross party lines for the overall benefit of society. It worries me a little bit as it pertains to cryptocurrency in general, just because there are those strong ties with a very divisive administration right now, right? I'd like to hear y'all's thoughts and opinions on it. Of course, as far as what we're getting, more regulation, more clarity, all this stuff is important. It should be bullish. Unfortunately, we're seeing a very suppressed halving cycle this time. I mean, I think everybody's feeling it. I'm feeling it definitely, as far as the price of Bitcoin is not where, expectations would have led us to believe it should be at this point. We're getting very close to the end of this halving cycle. I believe we have, May now? So, we have 5 to 6 months left there. Really, at the end of the day, it doesn't appear to be as effectual as it has been in the past. Now, it was effectual. It drove us to new all-time highs for Bitcoin, but then we also have the broader scope of cryptocurrencies in general and a lot underperforming. Even cryptocurrencies that have brought new technologies to the forefront are underperforming, like kaspa. even like Solana, which is probably the biggest player in general as far as participation goes, is underperforming by a lot of metrics that were predicted for this time in the halving. And obviously, then you have the other side of things where legacy altcoins like Ethereum are falling so far behind that they're not even hitting previous all-time highs. And that translates into, from a mining perspective, GPU mining in particular, that translates across all of the proof of work cryptocurrencies where, Ravencoin hasn't hit another all-time high. And at this point in the market, you would have expected that. And in this part of the halving cycle, Ergo has not hit an all-time high. I mean, I could go down the list of just like not, right? With very few actually seeing any sort of benefit from the all-time high of Bitcoin. And it's just a different world that we live in now, I think, from a cryptocurrency mining perspective. And now that we're running out of time, it definitely makes me question as to how high will this actually go? Will we get an altcoin season, or will it just fizzle out? I hope you enjoyed this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. If you would like to see more from this particular episode, take a look up here. Don't forget to also subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support me directly, you can go to sonofatech.locals.com and become a member. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next Tuesday.